Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Analyze and solve system of linear equations, and we are going to solve this system of linear equations by using elimination method. This is my second video, and in my first video I explained the elimination method, but it was, you can say, direct elimination. Now indirect elimination. What do I mean by indirect elimination? Let me show you with the help of an example. If you look at this system of equations, these two linear equations, there is no you can say variable that can directly be eliminated. For example, if you have x plus y equals 11, and then you have, let's say, 3x minus y equals 8. Now clearly you can see that in this pair of linear equations, this y and negative y, they can be directly eliminated. Why? Because they have the same you can say variables and with the different signs, right? But in this case, when I look at the variables 3x and this is 1x, I cannot eliminate them directly. Even if you have a positive sign over here, you can change the signs of any of the equations, and then even in that case the y can be eliminated easily. Now what is the difference between my first video's questions and the question that I have included in this video? Like all the eliminations in this video, they will not be direct. And secondly, I have added some challenge questions in the end. So I want you to solve those challenge questions on your own, and then you can play the video to check your answers. And those questions are taken from the past papers, right? Let's start now. Now look at this. If I want to eliminate any of the variable, it should have the same coefficient. Right now, if you look at the coefficient of x, it's 3, and here the coefficient of x is 1. Here the coefficient is 5 for y, and here the coefficient is 2 for y. None of the variable is having equivalent coefficients. How can I make the coefficients equal? Now what we are going to do, we are going to multiply the whole equation, any of those, sometimes both and sometimes only one of the equation, to make the variables similar. The coefficients similar. Now look at this. I can multiply the second. If I multiply the second equation by 3, what will happen? This 3 times x will become 3x, and I will have the same you can say terms 3x and 3x in both equations, and these two can be eliminated, right? Okay, sometimes the students, they directly multiply these equations by -3. Why they multiply it by -3? Because when I multiply this -3 by x, it will give me -3x, and now both the terms are same with different signs, so 3x can be cancelled with -3x, right? So it's all your choice. You can multiply it with the positive number or with the negative number. The main idea is to make the coefficient numbers exactly the same. Okay, now the other thing is, maybe some of the students, they think, why I'm trying to equalize the coefficients of x, why not y? Yes, you can multiply the first equation by 2. Now what will happen? This 2 times 5 will give me 10y, and I can multiply the second equation by 5, and this 5 times 2 can give me 10y. So it's all your choice. You want to equate the coefficients of x? Yes, you can go for it. If you want to equate the coefficients of y, yes, you can go for equating the coefficients of y. Our main target is to equate the coefficients of either x or y. So let's start, and let's make that, because that one is easy, because this one has 3. So I'm gonna multiply this equation by -3. Okay, by the way, this question can also be solved with substitution, because here they mentioned it using elimination. That's why I'm solving it with elimination. So this equation, I will write it as it is because I didn't make any change in it. The second equation, I'm multiplying it by -3, so this one will become -3x, and this one will become -3 times 2, 6y, equals -3 times 8 will be -24. Right? Now let's see what can we do next. Now this 3x and -3x, they will cancel each other, because +3 and -3 will be 0. Now here -5 and -6 will become -11y, equals -24, and -9 will become -33. What should I do next? I have to divide this equation by -11, here by -11, and here by -11, and as a result I will get the value of y, that is 3, right? Now I got the value of one of the variable. Now let's substitute this value of y into any of these two equations. By the way, in my last video, as I told you, it's easier to substitute it in the one that has all the positive signs. So I'll go with equation number 2. So equation number 2, it says x plus 2y equals 8. The value of x we don't know, and the value of y is 3. I'm gonna replace y by 3. It's equal 8. So x plus 6 equals 8. Now I don't need this 6 to be here, so I'll move it to the other side. It will change into -6. So the value of x becomes 2, right? So I got the value of both the variables. So in a way you can say the first step is the elimination. After multiplying or after equating any of the coefficients, the first, or let's change it. First step is to equate the coefficient. Second step is to eliminate the variable that has the same coefficients. And the third step is the substitution. We are done with our question. Is there any check? Yes, we can check our answer. How? By substituting these values into the main equations, the equations that are given in the question. So this is the first equation. So I will replace x by 2 and I will replace y by 3. Does it give me -9? So 6, this one will be 6 minus 15. Yes, it will be -9. So that this shows that the first equation is satisfied. Our answers are correct. Now let's substitute it in the second equation. The second equation says x plus 2y equals 8. X is going to be replaced by 2 and y is going to be replaced by 3. This is going to be 6. 6 plus 2 will be 8. So 8 equals 8. This shows that our answers are correct. By the way, sometimes in the exams they ask you to check your answer. That means there are marks for checking your answer. It's a separate part. You will get marks for it. But let's say if they do not mention it in the question that you have to check your answer, then it's all your choice. You want to check it just to make sure that your answers are correct, go for it. Otherwise, no need. Clear? Now let's solve some more questions. Here's another question. Now look at the first question. Now it's all your choice. You want to, because in the first example I equated the coefficients of x. Now I will equate the coefficients of this d, just to show you that it does not make any difference. You equate the first variables and the coefficients of the first variable, or you equate the coefficients of the second variable. So let's start. Now I want to equate these. So this one is 6. How I can change this 2 into 6? I can multiply 2 by 3 to make it 6, and the signs are already different, so no need to multiply it with any -3 or something like that. Clear? Okay. For example, if a student wants to equate the C coefficient, so he will multiply the first equation by 2, because 3 times 2 will give you 6, right? So I'm not going to make any change in the first equation, so it's 3c plus 6d equals 18, and I'm gonna multiply the second one by 3 only, not by -3. Why? Because when I look at the coefficients, it already has a different sign. So 3 times 6 is going to be 18c minus 3 times 2 will be 6d equals 22 times 3 will be 66. So let's solve it downward. It will give us 18 plus 3 will be 21c. These two will be cancelled. Their answer is 0, and here it will be 84, right? Now to get the value of c, we have to divide this side by 21 and we have to divide this side by 21. So c will be 4. So we got the value of c. This is step 1, right? To equate the coefficients. This is step 2, to eliminate one of the variable, the one that has the equal coefficient, equal coefficients. Step 3 now. What is step 3? Step 3 is to substitute this value of c into any of the equations, right? All your choice, you want to substitute it in the first one or the second one. I'm gonna substitute it in the first one. So 3c plus 6d equals 18. So 3 times 4 plus 6d equals 18, and this one will be 12 plus 6d equals 18. Now move this 12 to the other side, so it will change into negative 12. So 6d equals 6 and d will be equal to 1, because you will divide both sides by 6. Clear? You will divide this side by 6 and you will divide this side by 6, so it will give you d equals 1. Our question is done. So the solution set is c equals 4 and d equals 1. If you want to check your answer, it's all your choice. You can substitute these values of c and d in these equations. If the left hand side and the right hand sides are equal, that means your answer is correct. Okay, now let's solve a little bit different case. Although the idea is the same, you have to equate any of the coefficients and then elimination and substitution all, but your answer is going to be a little bit different. Okay, better pause the video here. First try this question on your own and then play the video, see what is the difference. Okay, have you tried? Let's start solving it and then check whether you solved it in the same way. Okay, now how can I equate the coefficients? I want to equate the coefficients either of x or of y. Let's try with x. Okay, multiply this equation by, let's say, by 5 and multiply this equation by 7. If you do not understand, just take this coefficient, multiply it with the first equation, and take the coefficient of the first equation of x and multiply it with the second equation. This is the easiest way to understand it, right? Okay, so what we will get, this one will give us 35x plus 14 5s are 70y equals, by the way, this one we are going to multiply it with the negative. Okay, now 28 times 5, let's check, it's 140. Okay, now let's do the second one. Negative 7 times 5 will be negative 35x, and negative 7, I'm doing it like this, right? This is going to be negative 70y equals, now I'm going to multiply this one with this, so it's going to be negative 140. What will happen now? Okay, see, this is going to be 0, this is going to be 0, and this is going to be 0. That means that left hand side is giving us 0 and the right hand side is giving us 0. Whenever we have this case that we cannot find the value of any of the variable and both left hand side and the right hand side have the same answer, means they are equal to each other, then this is the situation. It has many solutions. This means that if you plot these or if you draw these equations on the graph paper, both the lines will overlap, and that's why they will have many points in common, right? And there's another situation, maybe you will find it in any of the questions, when the left hand side, it does not become equal to the right hand side. Maybe you have here 3 or negative 3 or any number, means the left hand side is not equal to the right hand side. In that case, we say there is no solution. Clear? So this was the situation when we have many solutions. Okay, now I want you to pause the video here and solve this question on your own and then play the video to check your answer. Here is the answer. You can pause the video here and check all the steps, that have you done them correctly. Remember, there are 3 steps, and step 1, equating the coefficients by multiplying the equations, step 2, eliminate, and step 3, substitution. Now question number 10, better pause the video here and try to solve this question on your own and then check your answer. So here is the answer for this question. As you can clearly see, all the the coefficient, all the variables are cancelled on left hand side, and on the right hand side it is giving us 13. So this side is 0, this side is 13. That is not possible, so there is no solution. Now let's solve some questions from the past papers. here is the first challenge question. By the way, all your choice, because they didn't mention it over here that you have to solve it by substitution or do you have to solve it by elimination. So all your choice, the way you want to solve it on your own, and then play the video to check your answer. Right now pause the video and solve it. So here is the solution for this challenge question. We got the value of y equals 7 and the value of x equals -2, and you will get 3 marks for it if you will solve it correctly. Now let's see how can we solve the word problems using the elimination method. Now the main issue with the word problems is the students, they do not know how to make the equations by reading this by reading these statements, you can say. If you read the first line of this word problem, it says in a shop 2 coffees and 3 cakes cost 9.95 pounds. Okay, now we don't know how many coffees, what is the cost of the coffee. That means if you multiply 2 with the cost of the coffee and you multiply 3 with the cost of the cake, together they will give, you have to pay this amount, right? So if you represent, let's say the coffees with x, let's say we have like the cost of the coffee is x and the cost of the cake is y, because their costs are different, right? So this shows that if you multiply 2 with the x, that means this is the amount that you are paying for 2 coffees, and if you add into it the cost of the 3 cakes, the total amount that you have to pay is 9.95. Hope it's clear for you. Now look at the second one. In the same shop, 1 coffee, so that means 1x, and 4 cakes, that means 4y. You have to pay this much for these things. So it's 1x, that means x, and you have to, for 4y, if you buy these things, you have to pay 10.35 pounds. Right? Now the equations are ready. Next they want you to find what is the price of 1 coffee, means they want you to find the cost of each cup of coffee and the cake, right? Now better pause the video here and solve the question on your own now. So here are all the steps, and we got the value for the cup of coffee 1.75 pounds, and for the cake it's 2.15 pounds. If you want to check your answer, you can substitute these values into any of the equations. If the left hand side and the right hand side will be equal, that means your answers are correct, and all the steps are mentioned here. Let's solve one more word problem and then I will end the video. It says 4 times a number r plus half a number s equals 12. So it's very clear that they want you to multiply r with 4. So it is going to be 4r plus half a number s. Now it's your choice. If you want to write half a number s, you can write it like this: 1 over 2s equals 12. Now I have a suggestion for you. Like if you have numbers like this, let's say half, quarter or 3/4, in that case, rather than writing the fractions, better write 0.5 over there. Or you can write, for example, if you have 3/4, so you can write 0.75. If you have a 1/4, you can write it 0.25. It's your choice. By the way, if you go with the decimals, it will be easy for you to deal rather than dealing with the fractions. But anyhow, let me explain you both ways, that how will you deal it if you write it in fractions, and how will you deal it if you write it in decimals. Okay, the second equation is going to be, it says twice a number, so it's 2 times r plus 1/4. So 1/4 is 1 over 4s, and it is equal to 8. Now because to change, if we have any fraction into in any of the equation, the first thing that we do is we try to get rid of those fractions. Now how can I get rid of these fractions? I will multiply this whole equation by 2, so it will give me an equivalent equation that will be, I'm multiplying it by 2, so it's going to be 8r plus, now when I multiply 2 with half, it will give me 1s. So I'll write over there s, because 2 times 1 over 2, it will become 1, right? So equals, on the other side it will be 12 times 2, 24. and here you will multiply it by 4, so that this, because this 4 and this 1/4, they are reciprocal of each other, so they will cancel each other. So this is one way to get rid of the equations, right? I mean the fractions. So after that you will follow the same steps. Like this one will give you 8r plus s equals 8 4s are 24. By the way, it's almost done, the question is done. It's going to have many solutions, but let's say if a student has not done it in this way, I mean, what else the student can do? Let me show you. You can write it like this. You can write, just one second, you can write it 4 times r plus, it's half, so you can write it 0.5 s equals 12. And the second one, it says 2 times r plus 1/4. 1/4 is actually quarter, so it's quarter s equals 8, right? Now you can go for step 2. This is step 1. Your equation is ready. You will think that how can you equate the coefficients? So to equate the coefficients, I'll multiply this one by -2. So I will get new equations. I'll write them over here. Let me erase this one as well. Okay, so we will get 4r plus 0.5 s equals 12, and the second equation will be -4r and minus 0.5 s, because when you multiply this with this one, it will give you 0.5 equals 8 2s are 16. Okay, -16. I think in the first one I multiplied it a little bit wrong, or I wrote a number wrong. It's not becoming many solutions, it's becoming no solution. Now clearly you can see these are equal, so they will cancel each other. If I do solve it, this one will also be cancelled. So 0 equals -4. That means the left hand side is not equal to the right hand side. That's why we will say there is no solution. Clear? That's all for this video. I took some of the questions from the past papers. Hope these will be helpful for you. That's all.